Motorcycles have been around for over the past 100 plus years, and for many decades, the Japanese have dominated the markets for their cost effective, reliable bikes. But have you ever wondered, what are the Japanese doing so differently compared to the rest of the motorcycle manufacturers? Well, in this video, we're going to be breaking down why Japanese bikes are, quite frankly, just built different, pun intended. If you guys want to see more videos like this, please like, share, subscribe, and give me all the brutally honest feedback you can give. So let's pull the bro science out of the equation and start with a baseline of data from Consumer Reports. Now, a report dating back to 2015 interviewed over 11,000 riders across every type of motorcycle brand you can think of in each part of the world. The whole goal of this was to see which bikes had failures after 4 years of ownership. So to be clear, this isn't a total cost of ownership exercise. This is strictly outside of regular and preventative maintenance, what bikes have actually had a failure across that 4-year span that we're referring to. And do you want to take a wild guess at who took the podium? That's right, Japan took it with the big four. And I'm not talking accounting firms, I'm talking about Yamaha, Honda, Suzuki, and Kawasaki in that order. So from the 4-year-old motorcycle data, almost all of the big four Japanese motorcycle manufacturers stayed within an 11 to 15% threshold. And for those that can't math, that's roughly 9 out of 10 bikes are staying on the road, not having any sort of failure for almost half a decade. And when we compare this to other notable brands like BMW, Harley, Triumph, etc., the closest they even came to was 25% on that scale. The rest were above the 25% threshold, which is crazy when you look at that comparison. So naturally, this begs the question, what is Japan doing so differently compared to other motorcycle manufacturers? Now look, I'm going to be that cliche guy right now. I just went to Japan a couple months back. I can't stop talking about it. But if there's one very noticeable thing about Japan's culture outside of being incredibly respectful, welcoming, nice, is that they have a ton of pride in their work. It doesn't matter if you're a server at a restaurant or if you're a person on the assembly line making these God-given two-wheeled machines. They consistently show how much they take their craft seriously, and it was really amazing to see in person. Now, if you look at the past 100 years of Japan, there's obviously a lot of crazy things that have happened in the past century. But what I want to focus on is post-World War II era, because that is where the word, or the philosophy rather, monozukuri is originated from. So the word monozukuri is almost a direct translation to the word manufacturing. But this is more of a philosophy. It's Japanese engineering philosophy meshed with manufacturing excellence and the craftsmanship spirit. Let me explain what that means and looks like in real life. Let's start with the engineering philosophy encompassed in monozukuri. The way Japanese engineers are differentiated in their space is that they want to see harmony between design and production, meaning engineers design for manufacturability and reliability, not just performance. So what that means is we are not just going for spec sheets, we are not just going for all-out power. The Japanese engineers that are making these bikes consistently through this philosophy keep in mind how easy or difficult is it going to be to manufacture this engine, this specific motorcycle, and what's the reliability going to be outside of the performance metrics. So on top of all of that, on the engineering side, you also have the Japanese manufacturers taking iterative steps to refine what's already in their fleet, what they already have available. And instead of making crazy changes to their portfolio of different bikes or cars or whatever it might be, they choose to make small iterative steps to doing better with the current platforms that they have created. Now you might be thinking, hey, all this sounds pretty cool and all, but what does that actually look like in real life? So let me give you some examples about bikes and cars. I owned a 2002 DRZ 400. They didn't change that for 25 years until the recent model came out this past year, I believe. Great example of having a formula that doesn't need to be changed every 3 years to potentially get a little bit more profit. Yamaha had the FZ, known as now the MT series, the MT-07, the 09, the MT-10. The motors across that lineup have been refined year over year over year for the CP2 and CP3 engines. There's so many examples like this. And to pivot to Toyota, because I have a 4Runner, Toyota kept the 5th gen 4Runner in production for 15 years. They used this same engine for 15 years. Can you find me another manufacturer out there that's going to keep making iterative steps to keep bulletproofing an already bulletproof engine like Toyota has with the 5th gen 4Runner? You probably can't find an example of that. And so those are real life examples of how engineers approach the manufacturing process of new bikes or vehicles and making sure that they last a lifetime. So outside of the engineering principles of Monozukuri, we move on to the core manufacturing principles of Monozukuri. Now, this is going to boil down into a couple different segments. So let me break this down for you. So the first key principle we got to talk about here is going to be Kaizen, which is continuous improvement in the manufacturing process. Kaizen means everyone, from assembly workers to executives. They're responsible for small, steady improvements every day on the manufacturing line. So this could be really small things, like an operator redesigning their tool rack to reduce reach time by 2 seconds per part. This could be a team changes a fixture design to reduce vibration and improve weld accuracy. This could be a factory reorganizes its layout to reduce walking time between stations. Each of these small wins compound into a massive productivity and quality advantage over time. It's an amazing principle that is encompassed in Monozukuri, and we gotta lead with Kaizen because that is one of the best things to touch on here. Now the next one is gonna be standardized work. Monozukuri emphasizes precision through repeatability. So what does that look like? It looks like documentation, making sure everything is measured and everything is continuously refined. But standardization doesn't kill the creativity. It actually enables it because once the standard is set, Kaizen is applied to improve it even further, ensuring innovation within discipline, which is awesome because it balances both sides of the equation. Now, one of the last principles that most people actually know about, famously popularized and documented by Toyota, is JIT, or just-in-time production. Now, JIT production, or just-in-time production, has been a foundational element of Monozukuri across all different sorts of Japanese brands. The whole goal of it is to produce only what's needed. So instead of holding a ton of inventory, you only create the inventory or apply the inventory when it's needed and only in the quantity that's actually needed. So the focus isn't just on inventory reduction, it's flow. It's ensuring that every part of the process adds value without waste. Now guys, this last element could arguably be the most important part and key differentiating factor as to why Japanese motorcycles, and really most Japanese products, are always known to be so reliable and crafted at such a high level. And it's a respect for the Japanese people actually working on the equipment. Let me elaborate. Instead of viewing people as assembly line workers, Japanese people have a level of respect and label them as craftsmen. And they're empowered to stop the line if something looks wrong, to suggest improvements, to participate in daily reflection, to see how can they keep improving their craft. This pursuit of chasing perfection is why I fundamentally think that we see so much consistency across all the big four Japanese brands. So when you apply all of these principles to a culture of people as consistent as the Japanese, what do you get? You get the top 4 most reliable bike brands, all originating out of Japan. The trade-off of this is that Japanese bikes are not going to be the first ones to adopt any sort of new technology in the marketplace or always be the ones outperforming all the other brands on the spec sheets. But you can absolutely bet your money that the Japanese are going to make sure that you get the highest value product for what you're spending your money on, and whatever you buy from them is going to be dead reliable. Guys, I had a lot of fun doing research for this video. Being half Japanese and visiting Japan recently, it really inspired me to dive deeper into this. And so I hope all my pronunciations of words were on point. I hope that you guys learned something out of this video and you go buy more JDM things, because it's truly incredible just how much thought and care goes into the process of manufacturing the goods that they provide the world. Let me know if you guys want to see more videos similar to this, and I will catch you in the next one.